something that has everything to do with what we're talking about. So today we are on chapter 29, section 9, the forgiving dream, which is so appropriate for today. Page 622 in my book. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, the forgiving dream. The slave of idols is a willing slave, for willing he must be to let himself bow down in worship to what has no life, and seek for power in the powerless. What happened to the Holy Son of God that this could be his wish, to let himself fall lower than the stones upon the ground and look to idols that they raise him up? Hear then your story in the dream you made, and ask yourself if it be not the truth that you believe that it is not a dream. A dream of judgment came into the mind that God created perfect as himself. And in that dream was heaven changed to hell, and God made enemy unto his Son. How can God's Son awaken from the dream? It is a dream of judgment. So must he judge not, and he will waken. For the dream will seem to last while he is part of it. Judge not, for he who judges will have need of idols, which will hold the judgment off from resting on himself. Nor can he know the self he has condemned. Judge not, because you make yourself a part of evil dreams, where idols are your true identity, and your salvation from the judgment laid in terror and in guilt upon yourself. All figures in the dream are idols made to save you from the dream. Yet they are part of what they have been made to save you from. Thus does an idol keep the dream alive and terrible. For who could wish for one unless he were in terror and despair? And this the idol represents. And so its worship is the worship of despair and terror, and the dream from which they come. Judgment is an injustice to God's Son, and it is justice that who judges him will not escape the penalty he laid upon himself within the dream he made. God knows of justice, not of penalty. But in the dream of judgment, you attack and are condemned, and wish to be the slave of idols, which are interposed between your judgment and the penalty it brings. There can be no salvation in the dream as you are dreaming it, for idols must be a part of it, to save you from what you believe you have accomplished and have done to make you sinful and put out the light within you. Little child, the light is there. You do but dream, and idols are the toys you dream you play with. Who has need of toys but children? They pretend they rule the world and give their toys the power to move about and talk and think and feel and speak for them. Yet everything their toys appear to do is in the minds of those who play with them. But they are eager to forget that they made up the dream in which their toys are real, nor recognize their wishes are their own. Nightmares are childish dreams. The toys have turned against the child who thought he made them real. Yet, can a dream attack? Or can a toy grow large and dangerous and fierce and wild? This does the child believe because he fears his thoughts and gives them to the toys instead. And their reality becomes his own, because they seem to save him from his thoughts. Yet do they keep his thoughts alive and real, but seen outside himself, where they can turn against him for his treachery to them. He thinks he needs them that he may escape his thoughts, because he thinks the thoughts are real. And so he makes of anything a toy to make his world remain outside himself and play that he is but a part of it. There is a time when childhood should be past and gone forever. Seek not to retain the toys of children, Put them all away, for you have need of them no more. The dream of judgment is a children's game in which the child becomes the father, powerful, but with the little wisdom of a child. What hurts him is destroyed. What helps him? Blessed. Except he judges this as does a child who does not know what hurts and what will heal. And bad things seem to happen, and he is afraid of all the chaos in a world he thinks is governed by the laws he made. Yet is the real world unaffected by the world he thinks is real, nor have its laws been changed, because he does not understand. The real world still is but a dream, except the figures have been changed. They are not seen as idols which betray. It is a dream in which no one is used to substitute for something else, nor interposed between the thoughts the mind conceives and what it sees. No one is used for something he is not, for childish things have all been put away. And what was once a dream of judgment now has changed into a dream where all is joy, because that is the purpose that it has. Only forgiving dreams can enter here, for time is almost over, and the forms that enter in the dream are now perceived as brothers, not in judgment, but in love. Forgiving dreams have little need to last. They are not made to separate the mind from what it thinks. They do not seek to prove the dream is being dreamed by someone else. And in these dreams, a melody is heard that everyone remembers, though he has not heard it since before all time began. Forgiveness, once complete, brings timelessness so close, the song of heaven can be heard, not with the ears, but with the holiness that never left the altar, that abides forever deep within the Son of God. And when he hears this song again, he knows he never heard it not. And where is time? When dreams of judgment have been put away. Whenever you feel fear in any form, and you are fearful, if you do not feel a deep content, a certainty of help, a calm assurance heaven goes with you, be sure you made an idol, and believe it will betray you. For beneath your hope that it will save you lie the guilt and pain of self-betrayal and uncertainty, so deep and bitter that the dream cannot conceal completely all your sense of doom. Your self-betrayal must result in fear, for fear is judgment, leading you surely to the frantic search for idols and for death. Forgiving dreams remind you that you live in safety and have not attacked yourself. So do your childish terrors melt away, and dreams become a sign that you have made a new beginning, not another try to worship idols and to keep attack. Forgiving dreams are kind to everyone who figures in the dream. And so they bring the dreamer full release from dreams of fear. He does not fear his judgment, for he has judged no one, nor has sought to be released through judgment from what judgment must impose. And all the while he is remembering what he forgot, when judgment seemed to be the way to save him from his penalty. Well, there we go.
Yes, so relevant. Oh my gosh, as always.
Right?
As always.
It just says everything. I mean, about everything we just talked about.
Yep.
With judgment, with fear, with trying to live up to someone else's expectations, with guilt we have for not being able to live up to someone else's expectations because we've made an idol of them and the relationship.
And also my comment about how, like, I know there's change that needs to be made. I just don't know how to do it. It's funny how when I do feel like there's a change and I really feel it right here, then I oftentimes right on the heel of that have presented with an opportunity to be shown that no, you didn't get it, or you said it, you might have thought you felt it, but you didn't. That to me is frustrating sometimes,
Right.
But it says that whenever you feel fear in any form, you are fearful if you do not feel a deep content, a certainty of help, a calm assurance that heaven goes with you. Be sure you made an idol and believe it will betray you. Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
There it is.
Yep. For beneath your hope that it will save you lie the guilt and pain of self-betrayal and uncertainty, so deep and bitter that the dream cannot conceal completely all your sense of doom. That's what
Yep.
I was just saying.
That's exactly what you just talked about.
It is. It
Everything.
is. Yep. Your self-betrayal must result in fear, for fear is judgment, leading surely to the frantic search for idols and for death. It's kind of like what, Erica is saying, well, do you need to do anything? If you're
You do
searching
nothing.
outside of yourself to do something, maybe you do. Well, maybe you don't.
Mhm.
Hey, Tim,
Hey,
welcome. We
yeah.
just finished chapter 29, and boy, was it an awesome section.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, let me find us. Yeah, good to be here with you all. Yeah, we've had oh boy, the family stuff going on has been like just almost every day. There's been wrap-a-thons with my wife and one of our daughters, and then parties, and oh my God, Hanukkah. We have one of our sons-in-laws is Jewish, and so we're also, it's like Christmas. So anyway,
Yeah, we were
hey,
talking about that. We were talking about the holidays. We were talking about some guilt. We were talking about trying to live up to others' expectations.
mm,
And this just kind of neatly tied it in a bow, the forgiving dream about idols and how we make idols out of everything. And all we need to do is remember the truth about who and what we all are, what we are, not everybody else.
yeah, yeah.
Also remembering that your attachment to the idols is never what's going to bring you happiness. That's for sure.
No,
Yeah,
because it's part of the dream. It's
All part of the
all the
illusion.
dream of judgment.
Yeah.
It even addresses how time will change too, very briefly there, but it also mentions essentially that time also will be now not used against my mind to make myself confused or worried or upset or judgmental, all that sort of thing.
mm,
So I'm really paraphrasing stuff, putting it together from other chapters, of course, but the whole idea about time now becomes not really something that is grueling and something that's wearing me down and something that's frightening me. I see the relief of it when I let go of this, like the instantaneousness of it, the automatic thoughts of it. These idols appear. So my idol appears to myself in such a way as it essentially sort of pushes me into that. Let's go in this door, let's go in here and complain about things. Let's go in here and say how wrong this guy is and how shocking of him to do such a thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So that still
Yeah.
bothers me sometimes. That still comes up sometimes, that sort of thing.
yeah,
Not not in a really bad way, because I like to see more consciously that happens to me. That it used to happen just in the background someplace. I didn't even know it was happening. I'd get angry or frustrated or whatever, and I wouldn't even know why at all.
Mhm.
You're never upset for the reason you think, right?
Yeah, yeah. So now at least I see, okay, now I get it, why I seem to be getting upset, why I seem to need to realize, stand back and let him lead the way, because it's just like, it just got really treacherous. There's just dilemmas everywhere. In that case, it's a room full of dilemmas. Here, go in this room. It's a room full of dilemmas. There's no resolution in that room. I don't want to go in that room.
yeah. It's like for me, I put all this stuff on me about all these things I have to do, and the list. Oh God, it never gets shorter. It just gets longer. It doesn't make any difference how hard I work, how much time I put in. There's always something else, and it'll always be that way. It's just this trap that we create in this world. I mean, I'm not telling you all anything, but that's what I go through, and I'm getting easier about things except for my plants. We had a freeze here in Tallahassee. I mean, major freeze. And the same son-in-law I told you about, he helped me with a wheelbarrow move. These are big potted plants now. Some of them are really heavy. I could just barely do them on my own and get them into a wheelbarrow. But we filled my mother-in-law's garage 2 doors away. So we can barely walk on the side of the garage. It's a single car garage. And I've got grow lights in there, a heater. I probably got a solid 25, 30 hours doing that. Exhausted, working every night until, I couldn't work anymore. So all that to preserve these plants, which my son says, you just need to get rid of these every year. He says, Dad, you're not going to be able to do this much longer. I know, Michael, but and my son can't help me. So anyway, that's just one thing that just lately been overwhelming. So
Yeah. Maybe simplifying is the key, right? Just trying to simplify your life so you don't feel so overwhelmed.
yeah, subdue that attachment to the plants. I mean, I don't know. I cannot. That's my own personal thing. I just got to
Yeah.
get past that. Give them away, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess you had a pretty good freeze there, didn't you?
We did. It was down in like 2021.
Weird, huh?
Yeah, very strange.
It's going on still for about 2 more days, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in Ponte Vedra, so
Yeah, we have been in the 20s in the mornings last couple of days and 2 more to go. And then it gets up to maybe 40s in the afternoon, 40,
Yeah.
50
Huh.
with the sun, but the wind chill is driving the temperatures down. I think the other day it was like 14 degrees with a wind chill.
Oh God.
Around the
Yeah.
same here, actually.
Yeah.
Where are you, Eric?
Delaware.
Where?
Okay.
Delaware.
Delaware.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's worse north of here, but it's not that bad here.
You guys were getting flooding too, right?
No, I didn't. No, we
You
didn't.
get that. Okay.
No, we didn't get much. It didn't really come as far east as all that.
Okay.
Oh,
It started to veer sort of north, and we didn't get anything from the south except for before the easterly move of that whole
mhm.
thing. That we didn't get anything. Like there was something coming up from the south, but that was out toward in the Atlantic more.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
we kind of missed the worst of it. It got cold though. It really got cold.
Right.
We got down as low as I think it was 7 degrees. I think.
Oof.
Wow.
It was 2 below here, and then with the wind chill, it was about 30 below.
Oh God. And where are you, Alicia?
I'm in South Central New York State near Binghamton.
That's right. That's right. I remember now. Yeah. That's okay.
You didn't.
I'll deal
How
with
much snow did you get there? You get some snow, Alicia?
And we
Yeah.
did. In fact, last week, the day I got back from this wedding trip, we probably got close to a foot that night.
Yeah.
And then this last storm, I would guess maybe, I don't know, 6 or 8. And then it poured. It rained like crazy. So much of the snow cover was washed off, but then it dropped into sub-zero. So everything turned into a glazed donut. So it was it was dicey traveling.
A back-breaking glazed donut at that, right? Oh God.
I'm fortunate. I didn't have any place I had to be. So, and
Wow.
I just crossed my fingers. Please don't lose power. Please don't lose
Yeah.
power. We did.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking that also.
I don't have, I used to have a wood stove, but I don't have backup heat. So
Right. Oh,
my
That's
well is
good.
gravity feed, so I can still push hot water through the system if I needed to shower. I can still flush my toilets, get a drink of water. Can't make a cup of coffee with no power, but
oh God.
anyway,
Bottled water.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So there we go. There's a trip through our physical lives of just dealing with the holidays and then the weather too, and we've all been through it. And I've tried to keep a sense of peace that Eric, you were talking about it. I mean, you can go into this place where I don't know. I don't know how to talk about that in words. It's not. It's a wordless thing. The lesson that I had for today, though, I'd like to. It's where we are in the calendar year right now. 360. If anybody wants to look at that, it's not really long, but I don't want to get us off track either. So
No, that's great.
but
Is
it's
it where the repetitive one?
not so. It just says start lesson 360 on my book, page 484.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, peace be to me, the Holy Son of God. Peace to my brother, who is one with me. Let all the world be blessed with peace through us. And then just what he says after that just really brings it together. And this was this morning when I was meditating, I was just transported back into that place that is, yeah. he says you'll never speak of it. You'll never be able to talk about it. So
I think you would really enjoy reading what we just read too, Tim, The Forgiving Dream. That was such a good summary of all of it as well. It really did sum up all of the idol worship that we do, and understanding it's part of the dream, and to put childhood toys away. It really was excellent.
That's what I need to hear. I will definitely read it. Let me put
really excellent.
a sticker there.
Well, are we ready to continue on to chapter 30, the new beginning?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what awaits. The new beginning introduction. The new beginning now becomes the focus of the curriculum. The goal is clear, but now you need specific methods for attaining it. The speed by which it can be reached depends on this one thing alone: your willingness to practice every step. Each one will help a little every time it is attempted, and together will these steps lead you from dreams of judgment to forgiving dreams and out of pain and fear. They're not new to you, but they are more ideas than rules of thought to you as yet. So now we need to practice them a while until they are the rules by which you live. We seek to make them habits now, so you will have them ready for whatever need. Well, this is exciting. This also seems to be the answer, right? The new beginning. And now we're going to have some rules to implement for moving forward. Boy, Alicia, this just seems to answer every question you had when you first started today.
It does. And you know what? I was not feeling it earlier, and I was like, I don't even feel like doing class. And it always, if you feel like that, that's when you really need to get
right. Your ego is kicking and screaming.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for this, because you're right. It just speaks to me.
And I know you like to have very specific rules to follow. So I think this will be great for all of us. All right, let's continue and get into the rules. Rules for decision. Decisions are continuous. You do not always know when you are making them, but with a little practice with the ones you recognize, a set begins to form which sees you through the rest. It is not wise to let yourself become preoccupied with every step you take. The proper set, adopted consciously each time you wake, will put you well ahead. And if you find resistance strong and dedication weak, you are not ready. Do not fight yourself. But think about the kind of day you want and tell yourself there is a way in which this very day can happen just like that. Then try again to have the day you want. The outlook starts with this: today, I will make no decisions by myself. This means that you are choosing not to be the judge of what to do. But it must also mean you will not judge the situations where you will be called upon to make response. For if you judge them, you've set the rules for how you should react to them. And then another answer cannot but produce confusion and uncertainty and fear. This is your major problem now. You still make up your mind and then decide to ask what you should do. And what you hear may not resolve the problem as you saw it first. This leads to fear because it contradicts what you perceive, and so you feel attacked and therefore angry. There are rules by which this will not happen, but it does occur at first while you are learning how to hear. Throughout the day, at any time you think of it and have a quiet moment for reflection, tell yourself again the kind of day you want, the feelings you would have, the things you want to happen to you, and the things you would experience, and say, if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. These two procedures, practiced well, will serve to let you be directed without fear, for opposition will not first arise and then become a problem in itself. But there will still be times when you have judged already. Now the answer will provoke attack unless you quickly straighten out your mind to want an answer that will work. Be certain this has happened if you feel yourself unwilling to sit by and asked to have the answer given you. This means you have decided by yourself and cannot see the question. Now you need a quick restorative before you ask again. Remember, once again, the day you want, and recognize that something has occurred that is not part of it. Then realize that you have asked a question by yourself and must have said an answer in your terms. Then say, I have no question. I forgot what to decide. This cancels out the terms that you have set and lets the answer show you what the question must have really been. Try to observe this rule without delay, despite your opposition, for you have already gotten angry, and your fear of being answered in a different way from what your version of the question asks will gain momentum until you believe the day you want is one in which you get your answer to your question. And you will not get it, for it would destroy the day by robbing you of what you really want. This can be very hard to realize when once you have decided by yourself the rules that promise you a happy day. Yet this decision still can be undone by simple methods that you can accept. If you are so unwilling to receive, you cannot even let your question go. You can begin to change your mind with this. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. This much is obvious and paves the way for the next easy step. Having decided that you do not like the way you feel, what could be easier than to continue with, and so I hope I have been wrong. This works against the sense of opposition and reminds you that help is not being thrust upon you, but is something that you want and that you need because you do not like the way you feel. This tiny opening will be enough to let you go ahead with just a few more steps you need to let yourself be helped. Now you have reached the turning point because it has occurred to you that you will gain if what you have decided is not so. Until this point is reached, you will believe your happiness depends on being right. But this much reason have you now attained. You would be better off if you were wrong. This tiny grain of wisdom will suffice to take you further. You are not coerced, but merely hope to get a thing you want. And you can say in perfect honesty, I want another way to look at this. Now you have changed your mind about the day and have remembered what you really want. Its purpose has no longer been obscured by the insane belief you want it for the goal of being right when you are wrong. Thus is the readiness for asking brought to your awareness. For you cannot be in conflict when you ask for what you want and see that it is this for which you ask. This final step is but acknowledgement of lack of opposition to be helped. It is a statement of an open mind, not certain yet, but willing to be shown. Perhaps there is another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Thus, you now can ask a question that makes sense, and so the answer will make sense as well, nor will you fight against it. For you see that it is you who will be helped by it. It must be clear that it is easier to have a happy day if you prevent unhappiness from entering at all. But this takes practice in the rules that will protect you from the ravages of fear. When this has been achieved, the sorry dream of judgment has forever been undone. But meanwhile, you have need for practicing the rules for its undoing. Let us then consider once again the very first of the decisions which are offered here. We said you can begin a happy day with the determination not to make decisions by yourself. This seems to be a real decision in itself. And yet, you cannot make decisions by yourself. The only question really is what you choose to make them. That is really all. The first rule then is not coercion, but a simple statement of a simple fact. You will not make decisions by yourself, whatever you decide, for they are made with the idols or with God. And you ask help of Antichrist or Christ, and which you choose will join with you and tell you what to do. Your day is not at random. It is set by what you choose to live it with, and how the friend whose counsel you have sought perceives your happiness. You always ask advice before you can decide on anything. Let this be understood, and you can see there cannot be coercion here, nor grounds for opposition that you may be free. There is no freedom from what must occur, and if you think there is, you must be wrong. The second rule as well is but a fact. For you and your advisor must agree on what you want before it can occur. It is but this agreement that permits all things to happen. Nothing can be caused without some form of union, be it with a dream of judgment or the voice for God. Decisions cause results because they are not made in isolation. They're made by you and your advisor, for yourself and for the world as well. The day you want, you offer to the world, for it will be what you have asked for and will reinforce the rule of your advisor in the world. Whose kingdom is the world for you today? What kind of day will you decide to have? It needs but two who would have happiness this day to promise it to all the world. It needs but two to understand that they cannot decide alone to guarantee the joy they asked for will be wholly shared. For they have understood the basic law that makes decision powerful and gives it all effects that it will ever have. It needs but two. These two are joined before there can be a decision. Let this be the one reminder that you keep in mind, and you will have the day you want and give it to the world by having it yourself. Your judgment has been lifted from the world by your decision for a happy day. And as you have received, so must you give. And Alicia's saying, that's too many words.
Words. But it definitely resonated.
You know, it reminds me of that section that Tim pointed out in chapter 5 on page 90, right? Again.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I
I
must
thought-
have decided wrongly because I'm not at peace. I made the
Mhm.
decision by myself, but I can also decide otherwise. I want to decide otherwise because I want to be at peace. I do not feel guilty because the Holy Spirit will undo all the consequences of my wrong decision if I will let him. I choose to let him by allowing him to decide for God for me.
Yeah,
Back on page 90,
yeah, yeah. He's been doing it a while here.
right?
I like that version because I can photocopy it and keep it in my shirt pocket, and hopefully my ego will let me look at it occasionally. Wait, this is going to interfere with my to-do list.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my God. What a prison we have built. Mm,
But it's interesting though. I love how it says your advisor, right? Because it goes
Mm.
back to, are you aligning with fear or are you aligning with love? That's your advisor, right? Fear or love. What do you choose? And always is the choice. And
it's
if you set out your day to say, okay, today I choose peace. Peace is my intention for today. And if I don't feel at peace, something has gone wrong, right? Well, would I rather be right or at peace?
yeah.
And if I'm fighting against that, then I can ask again, I must have decided wrongly because I'm not at peace. And it just gives you another opportunity to align with love.
Mm. If we just remember to do that. It's-
Well, I think too, it goes back to vigilance, right? I mean, we're in chapter 31 now. The final vision. Oh, are we at chapter 30?
Yeah, 30, I
It's
guess.
30, yeah, right.
Oh, chapter 30. Okay, the new beginning. We're in chapter 30, the new beginning, and it says, you know, these we have to practice so that they can become rules. And I think we just take it lightly. We take it lightly, like, oh, it's just another chapter in A Course in Miracles. Oh, you know, we've read this a million times. Well, yeah, we've read it a lot, but did we actually read it? And did we create rules
Right.
for our daily living, like it's saying to create the rule, right?
I don't remember ever reading this before, and I've read it, what, this third time, fourth
I
time?
know, right? Because we just kind of blah, 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 blah. Oh, we're on chapter 30. Let's read this.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I
Right?
read it.
Yeah,
I
it's
put
saying the same
dates.
thing,
I
but it's
put
really
dates on it.
saying,
Yeah.
it's really saying like, okay, now it's time to make the rules here. It's not just about reading it and understanding it. It's about applying it and making it a rule in your life by creating a habit. It's asking us to, okay, let's just take this serious now. If you want to be happy, you have to be vigilant of mind wandering. You have to be conscious of who your advisor is. Who are you choosing for your advisor?
Yeah. He's got me. Oh man.
It's really I take it as that the first thing to do is take a look at what I'm going to do today.
Right.
So I know I'm going to be busy with this or that or something or other, and I want to see myself being relaxed and peaceful about whatever it is I'm going to do. But the most important thing, I think, is that there's an opportunity here to see that I don't have to make my decisions by myself. It seems like I do make my decisions by myself, even if I'm not making my decisions by myself otherwise. So even if I am making decisions according to God's will or certainty, it may not seem that way. So even that is not peaceful, really.
Right. Right. Because if you're not at peace, then you've aligned with fear.
Yes, or just at least that I'm perceiving it in such a way as it could be aligned with fear. So do I know what I'm doing? No, not when I'm alone, not when I'm by myself, not when I'm making decisions so unconsciously that I'm not aware that I'm making decisions about certainty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good, Eric. Yeah. So what I got out of that, what you just said was, if I have a sense of being alone and not joined, and I'm not talking about, well, it could be with another human being, I guess, as long as they're on that same path, but you know, I think you pretty much gotta gotta invite the Holy Spirit to be there, like,
Yeah.
help me out with this. Like, it's like we're just so
Yeah, this is
habituated.
beyond hope. It's actually in faith to know
Yeah,
I'm making my decisions because I'm asking if this is a good decision, because I'm saying, does this look like a good decision? Does this make sense to me?
I like that. You've escalated it to faith, which is, I forget the definition, but it's I remember back when I was 19 and asking, I was in the Baptist church at that time, and I had been saved and just felt all those, great feelings of, literally go home and cry in the bathroom because the joy was so great, and asked the church members of what is, oh, it's going to be fine. Just have faith. And for a 19-year-old kid who was getting ready to go to the University of Florida and go into architecture, was like, what the hell's this faith thing?
Yeah.
And here it is, 50 something years later, it's still there.
Yeah. Faith otherwise doesn't carry us through. So we need hope still, but when I find myself hurting over something that happened, that's when I need that hope. But when I find myself realizing that what seemed to have happened that I'm hurting over was just my interpretation of making myself pay for the fact of that everything doesn't seem to be kind and peaceful and joyful in the world. Why should I make myself pay for that? It's not my mistake to make that. It's my mistake to make myself pay for it with my peace, with my joy. My kindness is taken from me because I give it to this war with the world. It's the price I pay for it to make war with the world.
The last few days, it's I've been thinking, Terry, about something that, well, Carol Golombesky said it with it, when you get up, and today I give my mind to the Holy Spirit so that I can walk in peace. I always forget before I go to sleep that I give my mind to the Holy Spirit so I can rest in peace. I always forget that part. But in the morning, I've made it a conscious effort to put that out there. And I find that that also is helpful. Kind of goes back to, in making decisions and not having to do it by yourself. And I've had so much alone time that if I put it out there and, I'm not talking, I'm listening. And so that is helpful too.
I think it's interesting too, because it says what we just read, you never make decisions by yourself. You're either aligned with love or fear. It's never alone. You're either making decisions with the Holy Spirit.
You have to battle
or
is recognizing when you're, for me, recognizing when I'm actually aligned with fear.
Right.
I think it happens, for me personally, it happens a lot more often than I'm really wanting to acknowledge, or that I even recognize.
Yeah.
There's that subconscious undercurrent, if you will, of fear that guides and directs decision. It might be something as innocuous as, what do I want for breakfast? I don't know.
Right.
But
well, what we just read was, if you are not feeling joy and peace and a deep contentment, you have aligned with fear. So even asking the question, what do I want for breakfast? If you're not feeling joy, you've already aligned with fear, and it's something as simple as breakfast.
True.
Right.
And I just had mine. I remembered, I asked my wife, I says, so can I have this pecan roller? Oh yeah, have it. And I'm thinking, oh man. And what did you say? Your pants are getting a little too tight, man. I mean,
I was gonna say, if your breakfast choice is Twinkies, you're not taking very good.
But it tastes so good. And I work so hard, I deserve it. The masquerade, Oh my God.
Well, so we keep going, get one more reading in before the end of today. Okay.
I'm good.
Let's go to freedom of will. Do you not understand that to oppose the Holy Spirit is to fight yourself? He tells you, but your will. He speaks for you. And his divinity is but your own. And all he knows is but your knowledge saved for you that you may do your will through him. God asks you do your will. He joins with you. He did not set his kingdom up alone, and heaven itself but represents your will, where everything created is for you. No spark of life but was created with your glad consent, as you would have it be. And not one thought that God has ever had, but waited for your blessing to be born. God is no enemy to you. He asks no more than that he hear you call him friend. How wonderful it is to do your will, for that is freedom. There is nothing else that ever should be called by freedom's name. Unless you do your will, you're not free. And would God leave his son without what he has chosen for himself? God but ensured that you would never lose your will when he gave you his perfect answer. Hear it now, that you may be reminded of his love and learn your will. God would not have his son made prisoner to what he does not want. He joins with you in willing you be free. And to oppose him is to make a choice against yourself and choose that you be bound. Look once again upon your enemy, the one you chose to hate instead of love. For thus was hatred born into the world, and thus the rule of fear established there. Now hear God speak to you through him who is his voice, as yours as well, and yours as well, reminding you that it is not your will to hate and be a prisoner to fear, a slave to death, a little creature with a little life. Your will is boundless. It is not your will that it be bound. What lies in you has joined with God himself in all creation's birth. Remember him who has created you, and through your will created everything. Not one created thing, but gives you thanks. For it is by your will that it was born. No light of heaven shines except for you, for it was set in heaven by your will. What cause have you for anger in a world that merely waits your blessing to be free? If you be prisoner, then God himself could not be free. For what is done to him whom God so loves is done to God himself. Think not he wills to bind you, who has made you co-creator of the universe along with him. He would but keep your will forever and forever limitless. This world awaits the freedom you will give when you have recognized that you are free. But you will not forgive the world until you have forgiven him who gave your will to you. For it is by your will the world is given freedom. Nor can you be free apart from him whose holy will you share. God turns to you to ask the world be saved, for by your own salvation is it healed. And no one walks upon the earth but must depend on your decision, that he learn death has no power over him, because he shares your freedom as he shares your will. It is your will to heal him, and because you have decided with him, he is healed. And now is God forgiven, for you chose to look upon your brother as a friend. Here comes that brother thing again.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Oh, boy.
It's not the most difficult choice, though. It's to me to trust myself that I'm going to do the right thing is the difficult part of it. Am I going to see through my brother's confusion and be helpful? Am I going to see through his inability to deal with whatever and be helpful? I have to step up to do something, to be there for him if he needs me. If he's crying for help and getting all frustrated and worried and confused and so on and so forth, am I going to stand up to be helpful to that? There's the real challenge, like, am I actually going to follow through with what I said I want to do?
And let's not forget that all attack is merely a cry for help.
Mhm.
Are you ready to align with him when you feel attacked? Because there's another cry for help.
Mhm. But it's a double,
Yeah.
it's a double defiled altar, I think he calls it.
Right.
In other words, I've condemned you, so now we're both condemned.
Right. Right. So the only way to be free is to really see your brother as guiltless and to love your brother as yourself, see the Christ within your brother.
Gary Zukav, you mentioned him before. He's the author of the Seed of the Soul, I think it was called.
Yes. Mhm.
So he was writing about the physical aspect of this reality of seeing ourselves freed of our prison of our own making.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
I
that,
read that
so
a
that's
long time ago, but
yeah, me too. That's, in fact, that just came back to me where I knew his name from.
yeah.
So that's the thing is, in his day, he's writing about a physical reality, materialistic world, really. He's writing about it knowing that it might not be just a materialistic world, but he's seeing it within the context of, like, what happens within me when I'm dealing with this materialistic world. And it was a start anyway towards something, towards the realization. It's like, if I could only see within myself that there's something that actually was put there, which this is hiding.
Yeah.
So this body in my mind is hiding what's true about myself. It's put there by me to hide from myself what I really am.
Right.
I did it. How did he get me started with, the fact of, I'm seeing you as the barrier to understanding myself? No, he's saying you look within and find you're the barrier of yourself.
Mm.
Yeah. Because we think the body is real and we think we are our body instead of knowing ourselves as we truly are. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me.
Yeah, we have the body, and then we have the ego too. So it's like a double blind. I had a teacher here once tell me, and you probably heard the story, I may have mentioned it too, about some prisoners that were chained in a cave. They were facing away from an opening in the cave. They couldn't turn and see that. All they would see is shadows of beings or whatever moving behind them. So their world, their entire lives was a shadow. And then somebody broke free, got out of the cave, came back and told him. And I think it goes, they killed him or tried to kill him as a
Right.
blasphemer or whatever. You
That
know,
was Plato, right? The allegory of the
Plato?
cave.
Oh, it was Plato. That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I've been told we've consciously chosen to come here from wherever, whether it's, this planet, another planet, it makes no difference. But it was, it's like, okay, I'll do this one and I'll master this. And it's going to take me whatever number of lives to do it.
But then
You
again,
wanna look at it.
time is also an illusion, right?
And time is illusion. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So
It just takes an instant, the holy instant.
the only
Well,
thing,
I see Liz has joined us. I just wanted to let Liz know we are just
Oh, yeah.
beginning chapter 30. So that's what we're talking about today.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, sure. We have a few more minutes before we wrap it up here at 1:30. But yeah, it's interesting, right? Freedom of will. I love the part where it says he asks no more than that he hear you call him friend. So how often have you called God friend?
right.
Right? I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah. I don't remember doing it either. I've
Right.
had the experience of being,
Well, our indoctrination has taught us that that's not acceptable because we're here and God's
Yeah.
here, kind of thing.
Right.
You can't, there's no way you could be on a level playing field and consider them anything but something to be, someone to be worshiped and not as an equal partner in creating your world.
Right. Right.
oh,
Co-creator.
you'd be a candidate for being stoned, Alicia.
Why?
Blasphemer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for
Not
being,
as
I
your
thought,
friend.
my mind went to a different kind of stone and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not
Oh,
sure where
well.
you're going with this, Tim.
Like what?
Wait,
2,000
what?
years ago, stoned.
Oh, that's funny.
They're having
Uh,
stones thrown at me. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, no, that would be too much of a reward. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah,
I
I'm
can't
a
allow you.
blasphemer. I'm a blasphemer from way back.
So this has been some interesting reading today, you know.
This has been awesome, Terry. This really
Yeah,
has.
starting with the forgiving dream at the end of chapter 29, and then the introduction, the new
Yeah.
beginning, and really like thinking about these rules for decision and trying to make them rules in our day, you know, really consciously aligning with the Holy Spirit. And what an appropriate time to move forward with this, right?
New year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really.
To put some rules in there that when you wake up, just what is your intention for your day?
I'm
You know,
gonna
my
read
intention
them.
is peace. My intention is happiness. My intention is joy. And if you're not feeling at peace, then you must have chosen wrongly, right? To align with fear and then put those practices in place. Today I will make no decision by myself. And if I make no decision by myself, this is the day that will be given me. I have no question. I forgot what to decide. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. And so I hope I have been wrong. I want another way to look at this.
Yeah.
Perhaps there is another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Right?
Yeah.
I think it's time for a new list, Alicia. You had the wedding list. Now we have to have a new list.
I think I'm gonna type this thing out
I know. I think I am
and
too.
print
I
it
like this.
and keep it in my shirt pocket, run a bunch of copies.
Yeah, I
Or
like it.
or put it on my phone or something. Take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Then remember to look at it.
Remember to look at it. That's right. Remember to look at it. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to share before we close?
Look how big he's getting.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So cute. Wow. Look at him.
Oh, wow.
He loves you.
He's a good boy. Good boy and a bad boy, all in one.
Good boy and a bad boy. Very sweet. Looks like a big, soft, fluffy blanket.
He's so soft. All right. Well, this has been really helpful, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah, same
Yes, it's been
here.
great. Wonderful discussion. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Monday.
Monday.
Is it next
Yeah.
year?
Next
Can I
year.
say that?
Yeah.
Can I say I will see you next year?
Here.
Yes, I'll see you
There's
next
Liz.
year.
All
Thanks for
right.
joining, Liz.
Thanks. All right. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
How
All
much
right,
longer?
everyone.
Big week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
See you next Monday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.